Hey folks, in this interview, it's all about Skylum. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to This Week in Photo. I'm your host, Frederick Van Johnson. All right, I scored a pretty important interview. Not that all of my interviews aren't important, but this one is particularly important. A friend of mine, Alex Tsepko, he's from across the pond over in Ukraine, and he is the CEO of a company called Skylum Software. And they make Luminar, amongst other things. So I managed to pin Alex down to come on the show and answer a bunch of questions about the software. You know I'm going to ask, about sky replacement and all that stuff. So Alex is here to chat through that stuff with me, and we're going to see where this interview goes. Alex, welcome, man. How you doing?
Hey, Frederick. Hey, always, always great to be talking to you. To tell you the truth, I'm enjoying our personal conversations much more than, Skype conversations because, in-person stuff is always better. But, hey, thanks for having me here.
No, it's always a pleasure.
Even though it's 11 p.m. here, my time, I can always adjust my time to talk with you and the audience. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, and it's 11 p.m. there, and it is, it's a pretty late here too. It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon, so
Nice.
No, this is good. I have a ton of questions for you, man. First of all, congratulations on Skylum. I've known you guys since before the rebrand over to Skylum, and now that old brand is a forgotten memory. Everything is Skylum now. You're pumping out awesome software. People are raving about it. My community loves the software. We talk about it on almost a daily basis. How are you doing? Are you happy with the direction that the company's going, or is it still another mountain to climb for you?
I'm actually very happy, and the reason I'm happy is we finally have this clear understanding where we are taking the company and taking the product. You've mentioned that we also make some other apps, but we have been talking more and more often to actually rebranding Skylum to just Luminar team or just Luminar. And because the whole focus is on one product right now, we clearly understand what sort of product we want to build. We understand that we don't feel like building, another Lightroom clone or Lightroom replacement or whatever. And we definitely, moreover, we don't even want to build another pure, like traditional photo software or photo editor. So we now, it's almost like a game now. We look for these new, interesting things that are not yet available in other software, and then we try to create them and launch them, like similar to sky replacement and other things. And now it's the business has turned almost into a fun and exciting game now, where we are able to invent things and create something new, and people seem to like this new stuff and new direction.
Yeah, people love the new stuff and the new direction. Let's start with artificial intelligence and the sky replacement part of the software, which is, to be honest, from my perspective, a very small part of the software. The software is, does a lot of stuff, or almost everything a photographer could need. But a lot of people are honing in on that sky replacement and that AI behind it. For the people that may not have heard about the sky replacement within the software, break it down for us. What does it do, and why is it important?
It's important for several reasons, but I think that one of the biggest reasons is that it is that first step in eliminating manual and boring stuff in photo editing, and allowing photographers to focus more on the fun and creative part. From a technical side, it's easy. We use machine learning to identify different parts of the image, and then insert the sky where you'd like to have a sky. And you don't need to mask things out. You don't need to tell, this is a roof, this is a tree, this is whatever. One thing that I love about the sky replacement is how it evolves. And then we train it more and more with additional data sets. And one thing that I personally love about this feature is that if you have a balloon or a plane or a helicopter or a bird in the original sky, and then you replace it with a new sky, Luminar is intelligent enough to understand that you shouldn't move, take the plane away or a balloon away because you simply want to replace the sky. So it will place the sky behind the object that's already in the sky. And for me, this intelligent. And for me, this intelligent, this is the cool part, because now the software becomes smarter, and it's not just an overlay or a preset. It's something much more. It's like an extension of your creative abilities, something that you would do manually, and it will take longer, but now you can do it faster. And because artificial intelligence allows us to do these kind of things, that's the most exciting part of it.
Yeah, it is really exciting. I'll tell you, from an old school photographer that is, used to being in Photoshop and using masks and Bezier paths and all that stuff to isolate things and never quite being able to get it 100% perfect. Looking at how your software does it, around high frequency areas of the image, like trees and those, it's not just like, okay, you need a flat horizon and it does a gradient.
Yeah.
It looks behind things, like you said, like things in the sky. And then if I'm not mistaken, it also adds kind of a color wash over the foreground so that the sky matches the foreground as well. Am I right? Because it's doing all that stuff at a click, right?
Right. So it's not as perfect as we'd like it to be yet, because you still need to adjust like some things, and it does 70% of the job. But then eventually, that's what I like about all the AI stuff in Luminar, and just the reason I like machine learning in general. It's an evolution. It's always evolving. So eventually it will be one click, so you'll save loads of time. Right now we do some things manually, but 70-80% of stuff is done automatically. And then now with a recent update, we added the atmospheric haze, so it looks more realistic rather than just a fake sky. And there will be more and more stuff coming. I can't tell you how I'm excited with this whole new direction we're taking Luminar, because we're able to automate so many things using artificial intelligence, and then allow people to rethink the whole approach to creative editing, to compositing, to layered work. We even, moving further in the future, we have this big dream to even eliminate the need of layers in photo editing, because artificial intelligence will know where different objects are and identify different objects. So you won't need to layer things on top of each other. It will be all done in a single layer. Just the software will actually know what to do, and we'll have a new feature within the next 3 or 4 weeks, maybe earlier than that, as an add-on to the sky, something brand new, and you'll see how smart it is, and it will be very fun.
That's awesome. That is really cool. So then what? And I love the idea of moving away from layers and being more object, I guess, oriented. But then what allows that? Is it the graphics processor or just the horsepower of the machine that allows that to happen? Or is it just, more sophisticated AI and code?
If my business partner Dima, who is a product visionary, was here, he likes to say that magic, and all engineers just love to put some magic around their work. But in reality, it's as simple as this. It's literally just machine learning, where we feed thousands and thousands of images daily, and the software understands different objects. And definitely you need a powerful machine to eventually work faster. But one thing that we are focused on right now, and there's a dedicated team working on that, is performance improvements and quality improvement, even for slower machines. So one of the challenges for the team that they need to overcome is to actually low down the technical requirements for different desktop computers for Luminar, and then making sure that it's available on more and more computers. And we'll get there. It requires some additional technical tweaks, and it takes time, but yeah, eventually we'll make sure that one can use Luminar on as many different computers as possible.
And then where does mobile fit in there? Like, where does mobile fit into the overall strategy, Android and iOS?
Very good question. Very good question. Let's start from the very beginning. So the goal is to make Luminar the most popular tool for creative image editing. We also call it computational photography. It's when you can change the reality on a photo with the power of artificial intelligence and add a few things back, here and there. So the goal in the next year is to innovate as much as possible, launch as many new features as possible for the desktop version, and literally move way faster than anyone else on the market. And launching maybe a new cool feature that doesn't exist in any software every month. That's the big goal. Maybe every other month. So the goal will be to make a really strong brand and a popular software, a high-quality tool on the desktop first this year, and then we'll spend some time next year focusing on that, and literally just make it super stable, strong, and powerful and popular on a desktop, and then move and having a strong brand on the desktop for Mac and PC users will move it to other web platforms and mobile and everything else. If we start chasing trends and launching it on the mobile and then the cloud, it won't deliver the quality that we want. So the mobile version is definitely there in the plans, but right now we see that we'd rather make it the most innovative, creative tool for Mac users and Windows users first. And there are still dozens of millions of people who will use it, and then eventually expand it to other platforms.
That's great. Now you mentioned cloud, right? So looking at the company, and I'm clearly an outsider, right? So looking from the outside, looking in as a photographer, I see parallels to Adobe, and both from a competitive standpoint and a feature I wonder if you as a CEO are looking at guiding the company in the direction of moving to cloud-based processing on the one hand, but also a creative cloud type model maybe in the future. I know people are like, please, no, but are you thinking about going in that direction? Because Adobe, let's face it, has made a couple of dollars going in the subscription direction. Yeah, what have you given that any thought?
We have, we have an interesting relations with Adobe, to tell you the truth. First thing, it's like I still personally can't believe that we were, this close to be at Adobe Max and show Luminar as a cool plugin, and that was our dream, to literally show Luminar as a AI plugin for creativity for Photoshop and Lightroom users. And then a week before Adobe Max, Adobe sent us an email saying that we can't be at Adobe Max because we are too competitive. And
what?
I'm like, yeah, it was a crazy story. And then I sent them a note back saying, hey guys, we just our plan is to make the most popular creative plugin for Adobe ecosystem. 60% of our customers use it as a plugin. We love the ecosystem. We understand that people have invested so much money in Adobe products. We use the products ourselves. We feel like you are a great company with a great vision, et cetera, et cetera. We want to be a good neighbor. And no answer, didn't work out. So back to your question, we look at Adobe and learn a lot from them. Definitely learn a lot from their business model, from where they're going as a company. And who knows, if we see in some time, if we see that cloud-based editing is more efficient than what we currently have, then we may go there. Right now, no plans for that. Literally, just the plan right now is to allow anyone enjoy the software on their Macs and PCs and literally have fun with that. So we understand that cloud has some limitations, mobile has some limitations. And even though it's a trend, it's popular, it's more interesting, we actually more we are more concerned right now about making it a very fun, enjoyable experience on a desktop. It may not be super popular, but we don't really need to please investors or please board of directors. Company is fully bootstrapped since day one. So right now it's about building this whole new world of photo editing on a desktop computer, and then see where it can take us a year or two from now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you asked about Adobe. We learned a lot from them. They literally do cool stuff, especially with the new line of web products and everything. But we also understand that there are things that Photoshop and Lightroom are missing in terms of some gaps that they have. And we understand that we want Luminar to fill in those gaps, so people who use Adobe products have a value in using Luminar, because we'll have some unique like sky replacement. Or if people don't feel like using Adobe ecosystem, they can find all the core basic stuff they need in Luminar, like library and light and color tools and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is fantastic. I think that's a really good sort of mindset to approach it from, where you're looking at it from the standpoint of how can we make this process, the photo editing and post-processing process, more enjoyable, for photographers, because let's face it, a lot of your audience are hobbyists. There are pros there as well, but a lot of them are hobbyists. Plenty. Yeah, and they want to have fun. They want to have fun, making cool stuff. So, what about back not to? Oh no, go ahead, Alex.
No, I actually had two thoughts. First, when I was drinking water, I thought, like, should we mention that, it's just regular water, not some
vodka,
not vodka. Yeah, but then, yeah, I fully agree with you. It's it's about making it enjoyable, but then making it enjoyable for a very broad audience. Because what we've discovered is that professionals are great to talk to and great to work and learn from, but professionals are somewhere, I wouldn't say too conservative, but they have the established workflow, and for them photography is work in the first place, and you don't change your work habits or your work tools that often, because that directly influences how much money you make and all sorts of things. So right now, that's why we like Capture One a lot. This is a cool tool for professional commercial photographers for tethering, shooting, and stuff like that. But we see Luminar as a more, let's say, consumer, hobbyists, memory keepers, digital content creators, a much broader audience where people just want to have fun, create, enjoy without thinking about what the slider means, what the tool means, and literally just following their intuition and working on an image from a creative standpoint, like enjoying the process of creating something rather than figuring out whether how sliders work and how things work. So so the plan is to have value to professional photographers, like with sky replacement, the skin retouching tools, and then some more tools, and then also have a cool product that will appeal to the massive audience of creators, of artists around the world.
When you look at say the average, I don't know if there's such thing as the sort of average photographer out there, but when you look at a sample of the advanced amateur that's looking at the software, they're looking at Luminar, they're looking at Photoshop, they're looking at Affinity, they're looking at Capture One, and trying to make the decision on what their post-processing stack should look like, because like you said, it takes a time investment to learn these tools so that you can get to the cherry, which is I want to create my best work with it and not be relying on the tools so much. So what do you say to those people? Like, how does Luminar fit in? Should they be getting Luminar and Capture One, or Luminar and Photoshop, or Luminar and Lightroom? How does it all work together?
Let me think. Let me think of because I can talk for ages about that, and I can get philosophical, and I can get into the whole story of, what is photography, how we should approach it, and whether it's fun, whether it's art or memory. But to make the long story short, the way we see it is that we are making Luminar as an essential tool for any toolbox and for every need. And I know that from a marketing standpoint, marketing gurus always say, hey, find the product market fit and then focus on a specific niche, and so on and so forth. But what we see right now is that we're not focusing on a specific type of audience. We're actually focusing on innovation in the first place, and on simplicity and fun in the second place, but they go very well together. So we don't really want to force people to switch from one tool to another. This is something that we don't really want to be doing, but at the same time we want to be a good neighbor for capture. Well, we currently see, if you look at professional photo software, we see three companies that we really love, and we feel that they're really good, and those are Affinity, Capture One, and Adobe. So and they look very similar to each other in terms of how they treat the customers in terms of the navigation and user experience and everything. And even though we love that, we refer to it as a more traditional photo editing, where it's more of a tool-based approach, different user interface, sometimes different tools, but different pricing for sure. But the approaches are very similar, and we love the quality of their products. We literally love how they market themselves and what they offer. And for that audience, we just want to be a good neighbor and complement all the experiences that people have with these tools. Literally just using Capture One and Luminar, Affinity and Luminar, Lightroom and Luminar, just because none of those pieces of software have sky replacement or sun rays or some other creative tools that we have. And then we'll be adding more tools and features that are unique to Luminar and justify the value of having Luminar as an add-on to all those tools. And then another audience, like I said, it's a broad audience of, we call them digital artists. So whoever feels like they want to express themselves can use Luminar, and we define the mission of a product as empowering people to express themselves through digital creativity. So we don't really want to think of whether you're professional or amateur or just getting started. It's more like, I'm taking an image, I want to have fun, I have tools to allow me to create something fun with this image, and I don't really want to think too much on how different sliders work. I really want to dive right in and enjoy, and then do something cool with that, and have fun, and then share online and get thousands of likes.
I love it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's like if you look at it and use the analogy of like a car, I like analogies, but use the analogy of a car. It's like some people like to work on cars. They like to get underneath and change the oil and fix it and all that. And some people just like to get to where they're going as comfortably as possible, right? So there's room for both.
Yeah, it's like, I agree. It's almost like, again, automated transmission and then manual transmission, and you still enjoy the ride, you have fun, and we like to if there's such a, again, as a non-native speaker, I may just be using some of the Russian terms, but we like to democratize photo editing a little bit for masses, and allowing people just enjoy great results without having to learn complex stuff. We all feel like there is so much complexity around us these days, and if we can create a tool that allows you to express yourself but still get high quality results and enjoy the process and edit and enhance your images, but in a slightly more convenient way, then we feel like this is the right way to go.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, last question, or last sort of direction I wanted to chat with you about is what's next, right? What's next for the company? I know you can't share secret plans and what's going on in the labs down there, but have you given, as CEO and sort of the person that's driving the company, have you given any thought to different creative formats outside of photography, like audio and video and those sorts of things? I ask personally because I'm a photographer and I do this sort of thing. So, you know, I want some Skylum tools to make my YouTube video editing easier. Is that in the future?
A lot of things are in the future, but we are, and I'll tell you a little bit about each of them. We just 2 weeks ago we wrapped up the first Luminar photo camp.
Oh, cool!
So one of those things. So we took 36 customers to Iceland with 10 masters, and basically we're shooting photos around Iceland every single day for 5 days. So one of the things that we want to explore is a little bit outside the software, but still around the photography. We want to do more photo walks and tours and trips and photo camps to just bring the community together. Mm-hmm. Because the vision of Luminar as a photo software is, first, we want to be the most loved and enjoyable software for creatives, for digital artists. But then at the same time, we also see ourselves as a community of people who inspire each other and talk to each other and connect with each other and learn from each other. So right now we are it's all about photography, but more in a direction of empathy and helping each other and some emotional connections between users, rather than just a tool-based technical approach. So in the next couple of years, it will all be about photography and self-expression, because we really feel that when you have an opportunity to express yourself, it makes your life so much easier and you bring so much joy. But then we were looking at a few other things, to tell you the truth. We were looking at some partnerships with hardware companies to put our technology, AI-based technology, not maybe in the cloud, but more like in hardware, to allow businesses use the power of Luminar, maybe for their businesses, and process bulks of images at the same time. So some hardware integrations are possible. We put it on hold for right now because we just want to focus on the consumer version of Luminar. And then, next steps are definitely in video, but maybe there will even be some sort of like a hybrid format. Because the more we work with artificial intelligence, we understand that so there's still a difference between video and audio and still image. But thanks to artificial intelligence, you can actually mix all of those things together and have some fun. Maybe have an image that will play your favorite soundtrack, or maybe have an image with some moving parts. We used to have cinemagraphs and similar. Mm-hmm. Now with artificial intelligence, you can blend those different formats together even nicely and in more creative ways. So we'll probably add something like that eventually. But right now it's like the big goal is to literally just focus on Luminar, take it to new quality heights, and then I'd say add 5-6 new cool features powered by artificial intelligence that no one else has, to just be known in the industry as innovators and as a team that changes the status quo on how we approach editing.
Love it. That's cool. That's exciting, man. Thank you for sharing that. That is really cool.
Sure. Right. Yeah, and we'll be more organized in communicating of our roadmap and other things to the world. This has been such a crazy journey. The last 3 months have been absolutely crazy, with literally just tripling the user growth, and we couldn't even update the roadmap on the website on time because I was literally talking to support team, and then the website was doing something else, and they just like crazy. And
that's awesome.
So, but we'll get more organized and keep our customers up to date with everything that's happening.
Hey, and you are more than welcome to come on TWiP anytime you want to, chat about that roadmap or get some feedback from our community, et cetera. Because they're, like I said, they're big fans of the company and the software that you're doing. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, Frederick. I still think that we should do an experiment and maybe do it in one of the podcasts, maybe somewhere in our Tokyo office in Japan or Ukrainian office in Kiev. Some experiment, and then have this conversation outside California.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree. Let's do it. Let's do it once all this craziness in the world blows over. Well, when traveling is okay. Yeah. No, I'm more than up for doing that. Any final thoughts you want to throw out to the TWiP listeners about Skylum, Luminar, other software you guys have going on? And we never talk about Aurora anymore. Aurora is still going, right? Aurora is still kicking.
We just updated Aurora, and it's interesting. We have been getting so many emails from real estate companies and even like non-photography people, like brokers, who said like, "Hey guys, don't abandon Aurora. We use it for real estate. We use it for our architectural shots." So yeah, we can definitely talk about that. We'll eventually integrate Aurora in Luminar beta, because there's definitely a market for HDR, especially among vacation rentals and real estate. Yeah. It's all there. One final thought that I really want to share with the audience. It's not directly related to the software that we're building or to Skylum, but maybe a suggestion. Okay, I hate advices myself, but a suggestion. Years ago, when we were just starting to build Luminar, we were trying to build something based on our understanding of the market and our knowledge, without too many experiments and too many fresh ideas and too much of creativity. Try to break the rules. Try to look for new inspiration somewhere else, and continue creating and try new things. This is the best thing ever, I think.
I love it. All right, Alex, we will leave it right there. Perfect. Thanks again for coming on, and I'll be in touch. Sure. I'm gonna hold you to having an in-person meeting someplace outside the U.S. so we can have a chat, and we'll record it and put it on TWiP and see what people say. So cool.
Love it.
All right, Alex, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you soon. Probably next time I see you might be in your country. So I'll see you soon.
I love it.
This is TWiP.